I thought it was worth dramatizing Journey to Mars, which I see as just like the latest incarnation of a story that's hundreds of thousands of years old. The idea of journeys, the sort of journeys that gives you a different perspective, takes you into something that was unknown and makes it known. That's how we circumnavigated the globe. That's how we crossed continents, climbed mountains, went to the ocean depths, eventually went to the moon. And now Mars is the next step.
You know, are we alone? Did anything exist out there, or are we just some sort of magical planet that happens to orbit a nondescript star in one of the billions of galaxies?
The steps which are needed to send a human to Mars are within our grasp. The question is, do we have the national will to go and actually execute?
A mission to Mars will benefit all of humankind.
One thing I really like is that it can be very real. I mean, the producer, BEAU, and all the people involved in it wanted to be as real technically as possible.
You're creating things that don't exist.
The idea, though, is that it's small, it's hidden, it's interactive.
Yeah.
Income.
For instance, our version of phones, or augmented reality glasses, or self-driving cars.
This Range Rover actually embodies the most advanced technology of the year 2030.
It has to be able to integrate whatever we create into a world that seems very much like our own here in the present. And that's what's really hard, because we actually know enough in terms of the speculative work that's being done and what the world will look like 15 years from now, what the technology is capable of doing 15 years from now, that we can make a pretty good guesstimate.
It didn't work.
This is early stages. There's plenty of room for improvement.
The science seems to be about right, and they've asked all the right questions. How big do the engines need to be? How long do they need to burn? How much power do I need to go to Mars? How much food and fuel? They've asked all the right questions. So if you look behind the scenes of how big is the vehicle, how big could the fuel tanks be, how big could the batteries be, it will all fit. So I'm really impressed with the technical team. They've done their homework to make sure that nobody can call them on the science.
All data looks nominal, no issues.
Looking good on our end, too.
In my mind, there is another key factor of sending a human to Mars is inspiration that it brings up. People were inspired to become engineers and scientists, and they ended going not only in space, but they became in different industry, and that's what created a very strong economy. We want to do great things that stretch our limit. And for me, sending a human to Mars is probably the super example of stretching our limits and be able as a nation to do great things.
We approach everything with the sensibility of just because we haven't done it before doesn't mean that we can't figure it out. I wouldn't want to be doing it any other way.